Welcome back, True Seeker. Want to continue to examine the maybe not obviously seen elements of the film Leave the World Behind. As we know, this film is a puzzle. There's all kinds of clues, tributes to history, seemingly predictive programming for what the future is of the United States of America. Again, if you still haven't seen this film, if you've missed the 10 or so videos I've already done on it, last Friday, Netflix released the first film produced by the Obamas. There's going to be two more that come out next year, but it's about the United States of America and pretty much its end. How it's taken down by a cyber attack, massive power outage. And again, the thing that's funny about it is back in 2013, 10 years ago, Janet Napolitano was the head of the Department of Homeland Security under Obama. And she said the next 9/11's not if, but when, and it'll be a cyber attack that will take out the national power grid. So now Obama's essentially made a movie about that a decade later. And we talked about how Janet Napolitano was 56 years old back when she said that, and Obama won the 56th election, and in Gematria power outage equals 56, and Public Enemy put out the album What You Gonna Do When the Grid Goes Down 56 days after Chuck D's birthday. If you go back to the movie, that baseball clip that they're playing with the Braves where they're doing the tomahawk chop, somebody even looked up what actual game that was because it was a clip from a past game in history. The Braves became 56 and 56 in that game. And, of course, one of the songs used in this film, we're going to look at the music, is BLACKSTREET, popular R&B group, their big hit, No Diggity, back in the 90s. From 96, just like how that woman has the 96 tattooed on her shoulder, which goes with Julia Roberts dating Matthew Perry in 96. But, again, Gematria. The thing you must know to really understand these rituals and see through them and just see how specific it is and that these things are not an accident. So we're going to talk about BLACKSTREET and 56-year-old Teddy Riley right now and how perfect this movie going viral on Netflix was in light of his age. And also the name of that album from 96, Another Level. We're actually going to look at all the songs here. And so far going into this, I've already looked at two of the songs, but I haven't looked at the rest other than their names. So we'll do some live decoding. The film does start with the Joey Badass rap song, The Revenge. And if you've seen the music video for that, he knocks out the power in New York City, just like how the movie's set in New York. You see New York essentially going up in a smoke with bombs going off as the power's out in the film. Joey Badass also references the Illuminati in that song, and we'll get to why that's so perfect in light of his birthday. But yeah, we'll also look at the other songs, but I want to start right here, actually, with BLACKSTREET, like how if the power was out, the street would be dark, it would be black, play on words. Again, Gematria, if you're new here, is the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words. And again, Teddy Riley, the lead writer, lead vocals for BLACKSTREET. He's 56 years old at the time this movie comes out. This movie that has 56s encoded all over. And again, Obama won that first election in 2008, which was the 56th presidential election. In Gematria, power outage equals 56. So does Black Lives Matter. We talked about how perfect that ritual was when Chuck D put out the What You Gonna Do When the Grid Goes Down album, how they really brought those elements together. And remember, we used that album to predict the Valentine's Day blackouts that followed that, supposedly from severe weather, when the Public Enemy album came out literally on the anniversary of JFK's speech about weather control, which was September 25th, 1961. But look at this, you guys. It's just, it's so perfect how they do this. Teddy Riley's birthday, he turned 56 on October 8th. And then this movie was put out on Netflix on December 8th, which is where pretty much everyone saw it. And notice it was 61 days later. The song they use is from the 96 BLACKSTREET album titled Another Level. And Gematria, based on the alphabetic order forwards and backwards. 61 days after Teddy Riley's 56th birthday, everyone and their mom sees this movie. and the album that song's on has the perfect gematria. And think about those numbers in light of Obama. Obama won the 56th presidential election, born in 1961, the year JFK was elected. So we'll see what else we find. And before we go further looking into the songs that we haven't uncovered, just look at the tracks used in the movie. The Revenge, right? And the Kevin Bacon character in the film, he has that line about, well, it looks like, we might be getting tag team, because he speculates that it's like a Middle Eastern nation like Iran, maybe Korea, China, maybe they're all attacking us. We've made a lot of enemies around the world. It's interesting how that Joey Badass title, they changed the E to a 3. 3 is also the number with the strong 56 connection. That's because if you spell it out as a word, 3 equals 56, like the word light equals 56, like how it's made in the 3rd verse of the Bible. This one's about the lights going out. There's 3 Abrahamic religions. Abrahamic's also 56. Super Bowl 56, we knew it was going to be a 3-point game. We like number 3, Odell Beckham, to score the first touchdown. All those things happened. Again, it's not an accident that there's a power outage in the Joey Badass music video, and there's not an accident that there's a 3 in the word. That's what I'm trying to say. But Kool and the Gang, Misled. Let's just look at these track names. The Revenge, Misled, Never Gonna Let You Go by BLACKSTREET, Winter, Too Close, Friends, The Paradigm. The American people, the people of the world, misled, controlled, their minds literally controlled by the screens, which are controlled by the Illuminati, the cabal, which is referenced in the film. Never Gonna Let You Go. I guess that's like their idea of how they control the populace nonstop with mind control, perhaps. Me speculating, but winter. Remember, we're on the verge of winter. It officially begins December 21st, the winter solstice. In the film, part of the dialogue is that the shadowy cabal meets in the winter at the winter solstice. And then you also get the Commodus reference at the end of the film, who was assassinated in history December 31st, obviously in winter. And again, if you're new here, in Gematria, leave the world behind equals 192. Commodus was assassinated in the year 192. And his assassination marks the beginning of the fall of Rome, the end of the golden era of Rome. Too Close. We all know what that song's about, but maybe it's also suggesting that this event that's being foreshadowed in the film isn't too far away. It's too close. It was 2020 where all the politicians kept referencing the darkest winter, the darkest winter, the darkest winter, the darkest winter. It's 3 years later. It's 3 years later. So you might recall back in 2020, if you were alive and paying attention, man, everybody just had to keep saying that phrase. Turn on the news, talking head on the TV saying, it's like, why is everyone got to be saying the darkest winter right now? The Friends thing is interesting for a lot of reasons, as we've talked about. The last Friends episode is a plot point in the film, and the last Friends episode did air in history on May 6th, 5/6, and then Matthew Perry died on Julia Roberts' 56th birthday, and she stars in this film, and this film did premiere 3 days before Matthew Perry's death. And then the paradigm essentially means like the model, right? So I'd say the model from the cabal has always been to give us predictive programming, like show us what they're going to do and then do it to us. Again, the Julia Roberts episode with Matthew Perry and friends was called The One After the Super Bowl, which debuted January 28th, 96, right after the Super Bowl. And that Super Bowl, again, was between the Steelers and the Cowboys, which are the same teams used in the movie Black Sunday, about a Palestinian terrorist group attacking the Super Bowl. And again, in the film, it's Super Bowl X. And X is the 24th letter. And Twitter rebranded as X. And April 8th next year, you're going to have the X made over the U.S. with the second eclipse If you compare the 2017 eclipse over the U.S. to the 2024 eclipse in the U.S., the pattern of the eclipse over the nation make a perfect X. And there is an eclipse shown in this film as well. Near the end, they show it happen from the moon, from a frozen flag. But yeah, again, everybody who doesn't have the gematria knowledge and denounces the knowledge just does not want to be on the level. You know what I mean? Isn't it funny how the album's called Another Level? These people are on another level. You got the people ruling the world, aware of all this knowledge, putting it in front of people's faces every day. And then what we've learned for the last, 20 plus years, the post 9/11 era, where a lot of people have woken up to this and shared it, is just the majority of the world doesn't want to know. They just want to denounce it. They want to stay on their level. I call it the Go Yum level. They just want to go to 7-Eleven, eat some more Go Yum products. Want to know about anything. And like I've said a million times, when they do pull the plug on us, most people aren't going to have any idea what was coming. So, 2 songs covered out of the list. Joey Badass, The Revenge. Again, a music video, a song referencing the Illuminati. And again, in the music video, you have the power outage. And it shows that he does it in the film. He knocks out the power. He has a button, a controller to blow up the Transformers. Also about Joey Badass, look at his birthday, you guys. Look at, and you got to love how if you watch this music video, it's just like all red and black. Jesuit color code. That's why Tiger, the Jesuit pet, always wore red and black on Sundays. But look at Joey Badass. Look at his birthday, January 20th, 20/1, like 201, the 201st day of the nation's age every year. Inauguration day every 4 years. Inauguration of the President of the United States with the big 201 code, just like Order of Illuminati. So, first song in the film is the credits roll. And I'm trying to remember the rapper that Joey Badass is connected to. He's the guy that was obsessed with 47, like Obama took office at age 47 with the 47th VP, who then sat in D.C. for 47 years before he became president-elect, who offed his whole family in 201 rituals. I'm talking about Joe Biden. But yeah, let's look at some of these other songs. Kool and the Gang, Misled. Let's look it up. Kool and the Gang, Misled lyrics. I want to start right there at the lyrics. You know that nothing they did in this film was by accident. Late at night, bodies yearning. Restless night, want to be with you. Well, just nighttime. We're starting with nighttime, right? We're talking about darkness. Someone's playing in the garden. So enticing, he's sure to take a bite. Okay, a little biblical reference. I don't know what's come over me, yeah. She's as heavy as a Chevy. Pure excitement, misled. When she touches, and that's why they referenced the garden, right? Because they were misled by the serpent. Okay, I'm getting it. Pure excitement, misled. When she touches, can't resist her. I'm a puppet when she's playing me. She's outgoing, but I love her. So misled, I'm saying now. Baby, baby, what's your claim to fame? Got me out of bed, heard you call my name. What's the crazy place you want to take me to? Tell me, what's the price if I go with you? My heart, my soul, my love. Is that the goal? Those are like all the things you got to sell to make it in the world of fame. And you can tell in that Joey Badass song, man, he definitely sold his soul. He's just like, he's recreating the scene from Stanley Kubrick, the Illuminati house party. Looking all kinds of evil in that video. It's like, man, but I guess people just do it because that's where the money is. That's where the fame is. I don't think like Joey Badass, if he's not working for this industry controlled by the synagogue of Satan, I don't think that's the way he wants to portray himself. I don't think most of these artists, that's the music they'd even want to make. That's just what they do because that's what you got to do if you want to make it at this day and age. My heart, my soul, my love. Is that the goal? It's a thrill. Then I will be misled, be for real. Thought I knew her, this lady, opportunist, misled, always searching for adventure like Pandora's box, misled, and I don't know what I'm going to do without her. Baby, baby, what's your claim to fame? Got me out of bed, heard you call my name. Where did they play this song in the movie? I have to go back and watch. I don't remember this song being played. What's this crazy place you want to take me to? Tell me, what's the price if I go with you? Okay, the same chorus. I've got this feeling and it's blocking my way, but I love her just the same, just the same. Misled, heard you call my name. Misled, what's your claim to fame? Misled took me by the head. Misled said I would understand. Misled with a bomb of broken Venus. Misled, not a word is said. Misled, baby, that's your name. Misled, what's your claim to fame? Okay, same things over and over. Okay, same things repeated. Again, when I just think, for me, just simply misled. That's what the people of the world pretty much are, and just willingly misled. It's amazing how obvious it is that we're lied to about everything from the time that we're in school to pretty much everything else, and most people just march right along and seemingly do not care. You know, can they get something nice that makes them feel good? Can they be entertained? Can they get a pretty girl? It's like everybody. Again, in the spiritual world, that's why they say the things of the flesh are typically, not really. Oh, eh, the spiritual world's complicated, right? Because it's like you are supposed to enjoy things of the flesh, but at the same time, it's like the things of the flesh the temptation of it will lead people astray and off the right path and from doing the right thing. And you see that all over in the Joey Badass music video too. But yeah, misled people in a movie put out by Obama. And the only thing that I can really say that Obama did on the campaign trail that was like very devious, or is that the right word? Might be the right word, but just thing that was wrong, where he misled people, is he said the right thing the whole time about that vote for immunity for the telecom companies. He was saying the right thing about it, how it could not happen because it would be the biggest violation in the history of the Constitution. But then when it came time to vote, he voted for it, showing you what a fraud he was, which is why he should have never got a vote from anybody, but nobody even paid attention to that. They're just like, oh, he's black and he sounds good. Like, yeah, did you see what he did? He just campaigned for months on something and then voted the exact opposite way. And he said it couldn't happen. He talked about how it could not happen, and then he voted for it. So what do you really need to know about this guy? Again, if anybody had a brain, they would have realized back then that he was a total fraud and there was no way you should support him. But misled people, right? They didn't even know what happened because they weren't even paying attention. He's black. I like the way he sounds. That's a misled populace that makes decisions like that. And now the nice movie he puts out for us to show us our future. Just the only question is, how far away is it? Is it too close? Okay, TV on, or hold on, let's look at a little more about this Kool and the Gang Misled song. It came out in 1984. Okay, there's a year of years, 1984, Orwell. Next year will be the 40th anniversary. Let me see. Let's see if we can get a more specific date than 1984. November 2nd. What a date. The anniversary of the Balfour Declaration, old 112. So that song turned 39 years old this year. Okay. For the time being, I don't have anything else to say about Misled. TV on the radio, winter. Again, winter was heavily referenced in the film. And let's see. Winter TV on the radio. Seem to not want to bring that up. All right, let's go through the lyrics on this one too. Not as many lyrics as the Kool and the Gang song. Oh, it's the winter of the wanted. Yeah, it's the hardest part of nature. Lord, have mercy on this creature. Give me some heat. I know you've got it. And who knows what the summer's going to bring us. Comes on slow, got to keep the fire in us. So completely in the dark now. I hope that night will last forever. Yeah, you know I like it better when we're a little bit frightened and who knows what the night is going to show us. And we'll go where nobody's going to know us. I was blinded by sympathy for a minute, I was strung out. Got my eyes wide open now. I can see the storm ahead of me. I guess maybe that's what this movie's meant to do to all the sleepers. Do you get it yet? The president putting out movies like this? I say go because I know it's going to clean us. No control, let the physical redeem us. This is my confession, yeah. Think I'll learn my lesson, yeah. This is my confession, yeah. Can you hear me calling out like a siren to a sailor? Only trip that lasts forever. Let the ocean take us over now. Gotta know that there's a chemistry between us. Gonna show that I want you and I need it. Let the lightning strike me down now, as long as we're together. Can't think at lightning. Remember the connection with Obama and lightning on his birthday? The lightning strike that wiped out the Wisconsin couple. Barack has the connection to lightning through, I forget which language it is. But of course, lightning is also associated with Satan because Satan comes to earth in a lightning strike in Luke 10:18. Kind of like the day the Event 201 simulation 10:18, which was paired with the Claydex simulation that was 666 days before March 11, 2020. And also, Lil Nas X put out those Satan shoes with real blood in the soles, 666 pairs, and he etched Luke 10:18 on there. So don't forget that about Obama and Lightning. Lightning has the gematria of 44 as well, like he was number 44. Let the lightning strike me down now. So electricity, lightning, something that does cause power outages. As long as we're together, can't think of nothing better than a union in the afterglow. Let it go, all the thinking and the reason. Here we go to the loving and the pleasing. Lay me down if you know, let's go out. I'm ready for. Lay me down, we can go on. Gonna keep you for the winter. Okay. Again, just winter is a major reference point. If I'm not mistaken, isn't the singer for TV on the radio also black? Just with the whole blackout and using black celebrities for predictive programming of a blackout theme. I do believe he is a black man, the singer for that band. When did this song come out? The lyrics were put up on November 18th, 2014. I'm not sure that's when the song came out. I thought it released in 2014. Here, let me see. TV on the radio discography. So this is back when Obama was president, right? This is right. This is shortly after Janet Napolitano gave her speech about the next 9/11 being the power grid going down by hackers in August of 2013. They have an album called Seeds that came out in 24. It did come out on November 18th. That's an interesting date that it came out on. That's the 322nd day of the year, 322. It's the day in history the founder of the Illuminati died. Kabbalah, 3 pillars, 22 paths. This album, Seeds, has gematria of 52. We were talking about power outage does equal 56, which it does. If you run it in reverse, it's 52. So, Seeds 52, power outage 56, like we talked about, also 52. Okay. Too Close. Did that song come out in 96? Probably somewhere around there. Because I remember being a kid. And I remember my friend's sister, she was a year older than us. She's like, "Do you think this song's about an erection?" I was like, "It sounds like it, but man, I'm not sure they played on the radio if that's what they meant." That's definitely what it's about. Let's see. '98. Okay. 98. I was 14 when this song came out. I would have turned 15 later that year. Look at what day it came out on. January 27th, 127. Man, talking about Illuminati numbers. Bavarian Illuminati 127. Again, buildings 1, 2, and 7 on 9/11. Pearl Harbor Day. What happened to Hawaii this year in the big 127 ritual? It makes it. I did so much work on the Hawaii thing, and I just have it all. I was writing a book, but then just like it's amazing, just like how everyone just wiped it out. Like no one. Ah, United States of amnesia, man. Just too much to for people to focus on, but that's why people got to wake up, man. Your neighborhood could be the next Maui. So the single was January 27, 98, also in the wintertime. And again, I just wonder if there's another meaning. You know what's interesting is that Blackstreet album on another level. I had that CD when I was a kid, and that's actually a pretty good album. I just listened to the whole thing just in light of being used in this movie. And then there's a song near the end about how they're going to take the dusty records off the shelf, and have a nice time. And then it just made me think of the movie, because if you've seen the movie, that they're going through the big record collection and the man's trying to pick like something like some jazz, a little more sophisticated music. And then Julia Roberts' character, she finds the next Too Close record and she wants to play that. And he's like, what? That's not what I want to play. And that scene too, like, I feel like that, because if you haven't seen the movie yet, Julia Roberts, she has kind of this racial tension. She's scared of the black people coming to the home at night. She doesn't believe them. She thinks they must be the help and not the owners of the home. They got to be lying. Something's up. And even though like all the signs are there that it's his house, right? I mean, just from like, I'm pretty sure if the movie's alluding that if it was a white person, she probably wouldn't be questioning anything. But then, that they make amends and they become a little bit more friendly, and then it almost gets romantic. But man, I just feel like in terms of like the racial stereotypes in that movie, I feel like Julia Roberts, she can't be that bad at dancing, can she? God, she's just like so stiff. It's like uncomfortable to watch. It's like, oh my God. How old is she? 56? She looks like she's moving like she's 156. But anyway, this is the song that they pull out the dusty records off the shelf. And then that's also referenced in the Blackstreet album. So I thought that was interesting. And that Blackstreet album is from 96. This song's from a little bit later, the beginning of 98. And yeah, I just think about too close, man. I mean, could also mean that just things are just too close. Time's been ticking. Again, it was 10 years ago. It was 2013 that Janet Napolitano said the next 9/11 is not if, but when. And it's the power grid going down. And again, that was her speech is like one of the things that also catapulted me into figuring out more of what was going on in the world. That was the same time that I finally figured out Gematria. I was injured, so I had more time to read and look into things, and then just so many weird things going on in the world. It's crazy. It's 10 years later, and now the president's putting out a movie about it. Which is a reminder, these people do work at a snail's pace. She gave the warning at age 56 a decade ago. Decade later, he's following up on it. And that's why you just don't know. I mean, I'd like to think that we have at least a decade longer to wake the world up and stop what's coming, but it might just be too close. You might want to make sure you have that emergency supply. Like I always said, don't live in fear, but have that, store of dry food, water, first aid. If you can afford things like a generator, could be super helpful. But yeah, just having the bare essentials make all the difference in the world. Power's out, you live in a cold place, you got some big warm blanket, could be the greatest asset you ever had. So. Lil Yachty, The Paradigm. I'm not even, well, actually, let's look at the Rembrandt's Friends thing. I mean, everybody knows what that is from that show, but when did it even come out? Wait, hold on. Yeah, this is the song that I play. I'll Be There For You. That song came out in 95. So also just before 96, which again is a theme in the movie because one of the main characters has 96 tattooed on her shoulder. I looked her up. She's born in 96. Um, when did the show Friends come out? I thought it feels to me like I was thinking Friends was already out before 95. So how was it? They must have had that song out for the show before it was on the album, because it wasn't that always the Friends theme song, "I'll Be There For You"? Hmm. Maybe at the very beginning of the show, they used a different song? I don't know. Go back and check that out. Friends debuted in 94, but again, it ended on 5/6, 2004. And by the way, shout out to Amy. Amy pointed out that from May 6th to the day that this film, I put it up on my website too, but Amy caught this. Another great observation from Amy. The theater release for this film, November 22nd. Again, it went on Netflix December 8th, but they had to put it out on the JFK assassination anniversary, but spanned 201 days. And again, if you haven't seen the movie, it ends with the last episode of Friends, being turned on. The youngest character, all she cares about, even though it's like apocalypse going on around her, she just has to see the last episode of Friends. She can't believe the power went out before she caught the last episode. And think about it being 19 years later, too, right? Just the 19-year cycles of the moon and the cabal. And I guess with 201 in the moon, let's not forget the moon landing on the 201st day of the year. Neil Alden Armstrong, 201, like Order of Illuminati, like the moon illuminated by the sun. When we know who's running the show, the Illuminati from the Catholic Church, which began as a sun worshiping cult. But yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that. Was this the original Friends theme song? Because Friends came out before the song, apparently. Or hold on, what's it say? Oh, never mind. It was originally written for Friends, and then they put it. Okay, so it's always been the Friends theme song. It says right there. Huh. They were going to use the REM song instead originally. But REM didn't want it to be used. They were going to use Shiny Happy People. Huh. Well, REM must not be totally in it for the money, because I'm sure that would have been a nice payday. But that was my 6th grade teacher's favorite band, REM. Okay. All right, let's look up this other song, Lil Yachty, The Paradigm. Oh, this song was made for the film, huh? Officially made for the film. Is that right? Where it's coming up because it's on the soundtrack. He was born in 97. Again, also not too far off from 96. All right, so right now I'm uncertain, because when Google's just pulling it up, as it's a song on the soundtrack for this film. But the lyrics for this are "Meet me at the bridge past 9." I find that interesting because remember, the word bridge in Gematria equals 45, and 45 is the 9th triangular number. And it was part of the joke with the death of the Queen. They made Liz Truss the prime minister right before the Queen died, and she was only prime minister for 45 days. And a truss is part of the architecture of a bridge. And then you had that Nicola Bulley disappearance in a big 45 ritual. I know there's another disappeared woman in water in the UK right now. And shout out to Audio Oracle. There's 45 all over that as well. But yeah, meet me at the bridge past 9. 45, 9th triangular number, bridge 45. Trying to think if anything else about that can matter right now. Turn off our phones if you need some downtime. Kick off your shoes and unwind. Relax your brain as you enter the paradigm. You are not dealing with the typical, one of a kind, super individual. I see the light and I can't feel. Forget about bills, riding them hills, dipping in cheap thrills. Forget about bills. Oh, okay. I guess he's beyond money. He's living up with the rich people in the hills, and he's dipping in cheap thrills, whatever that is. Loving the mills, posing for stills. I guess the mills are the millions. Posing for stills is pictures. Popping them pills. Yeah, that's what the. I can't remember the skit, man. There's some guy online who does the best hip hop skits, and he has the progression of hip hop music from the '80s to the present. It's hilarious. Oh, it's hilarious, man. I haven't laughed as hard since I saw that skit for the first time. I need to get Jonathan on a stream because him and I were playing that. It's probably 2 years ago now, but the way time flies by. But man, I was dying. Doubling down, devil's in town. It's trickling down. Okay. I wonder how much you got paid to write this short little song. Devil's in town. Reminds me of when Obama and LeBron were on the shop just laughing about selling their souls. It was so funny. Is Lil Yachty a play? What does that mean? Like a play on a yacht? Rich people got yachts? Let's see, though. I want a better release date for this. Or is it only on the soundtrack? Let's see. Yeah, maybe it is 2023. They're saying it debuted December 8th, 2023, huh? Oh, that's for the lyrics. They put it out the day. It must have been before that, right? Because the film first premiered October 25th, wide theater release November 22nd, Netflix release where everybody hears about it December 8th. So they got the lyrics up here as of then, but I guess the song was made for the film. So yeah, my instinct told me to look at this BLACKSTREET song first. I already knew about the Joey Badass power outage in the music video, but the BLACKSTREET just it makes so much sense. And again, just like I wrote in the post, these people are on another level. That album that song's from is another level, and just go figure that 61 days after Teddy Riley's 56th birthday, the song's being featured in the movie. They play it right as they arrive to the house where they are when the power goes out. And yeah, somebody out there can probably look at these songs and find a number of things I'm overlooking right now. But yeah, let's hope it isn't too close. So shout out to Paula, the kitchen witch. Hey, Paula, you are very generous, and I do pay attention to who donates. And I know you donated $20 the other day. It couldn't have been more than Wednesday. And then you gave me a $10 sticker thing for a video I uploaded yesterday, and then another $10. And again, there's not a lot of people who do give super chats. But what I would say to you is you've given me $40 in the last week. And that's a lot of money. And I just think, unless you're a millionaire, I don't know. If you're a millionaire, then thank you very much. But if you're not, please make sure you have your emergency supplies in case something crazy goes down. And again, for all the people out there that it's tough times, again, be smart with your money. But I do think it's worth, if you don't have anything right now in case the power went out, $100. Water, food, first aid, flashlight, good one, enough batteries. They make a lot of solar flashlights now. Could be the way to go. Something I should get that I used to have. I lost it when my house got ripped off in 2014, so I haven't replaced all these years. I used to have a really nice, you can buy these at like military surplus stores. I need to go get one. I need to go get one so bad. I don't know why I don't have any more. But it's they're like a water bottle with a really strong filter. And most things you could like scoop the water from. And the filter will keep out the majority of the contaminants. They probably make even better stuff now, but just things that could come in big handy in case we ever do find ourselves The first time in my life I ever put together like a survival bag was in 2013, because like I said, in that year, you had Janet Napolitano's warning, you had National Geographic Channel and Channel 4 in the UK put out the realistic films of what it would look like if the grid went down in the world and how crazy it could get, how fast. You had the politicians put out books about the grid going down. You had the show Revolution, a number of other things I'm forgetting right now. But yeah, it's just an ounce of prevention's worth a pound of cure. And you just want to make sure in case that this is too close. You just want to make sure that you're not going, oh my God, I didn't get prepared yet because I didn't think it was going to happen this fast. And hopefully it doesn't. And like I said, I mean, if you have those things, they're not going to hurt you. If you stock up on something like tuna fish, which could be helpful, because again, the thing about tuna fish might be high in mercury, but it'll also sustain you and it's not real expensive and it won't perish. And usually you buy a can of tuna fish, the expiration's 2 or 3 years away. So yeah, over time, it's a year and a half from now and the power's still on. I mean, you can eat that tuna fish. It's not wasted. But yeah, just in case. Always good to have the necessary supplies on hand. So for the person who says peanut butter is better, I'd agree. Peanut butter, great choice. Great choice, peanut butter. I don't know if it's necessarily better, but it's not a bad choice because it's inexpensive and filling. And yeah, again, it keeps in the cupboard too. So that's what I mean, though. Just stock up on things that you would eat that would last you. So peanut butter's there's all kinds of things. A can of black beans, any beans, canned beans is a good one. You can eat them raw right out of the can. They keep forever. Lutefisk. Somebody must be Norwegian. You don't want lutefisk. Oh man! For all of you guys who don't know what lutefisk is, it's because you're not Norwegian. It is the stinkiest fish on the face of the earth. You're not going to want lutefisk in the fallout. I never thought I'd see the word lutefisk in the chat. We covered the Civil War thing. Yeah, it came. They put out the trailer 201 days after Alex Garland's birthday, and it was at the same time that Andre Brower's death was trending, which was 201 days for his upcoming birthday. So yeah, we definitely covered the Civil War thing, just like how Commodus referenced at the end of the movie. Commodus is from the time of the Roman Civil War. Jason says, whoops, I hit the wrong button. Yeah, you might want some cannabis in your bug out bag unless you're the paranoid type. Then you might not want to smoke at all. You might be the worst high ever. But speaking of which, I got to have a fun moment with Jason. Him and I were at the Mall of America parking lot sharing a joint in Minneapolis. And man, I do not like being in that. That garage is terrifying, man. It just like, as the cars drive above you, the roof like shakes and the floor's moving. I will never go in that Mall of America. I will never park in that garage again. Once we started to smoke, I was like, I don't want to be in here. I don't want to be in this garage, man. I feel like it's about to collapse right now. But yeah, weed can make you a little bit more paranoid. So shout out to Jason. Oh, we got trolls in the chat. I hope you guys get, you know what, for all my trolls, I hope you guys really are getting paid to troll because it's just amazing the hours you dedicate. An actor's dead at 93 on a Saturn's day, right before Saturnalia begins. Interesting. Okay. I never seen Mr. Robot. I know I'm aware of it, but I've never seen it. I hardly ever watch shows because it takes so much time to watch a show. Yeah, 2025 is a year we've had circled forever. And 2025 might be the year. We've had that year circled forever. it's alluded to in a million different things. So dabs, to me, I'm not a dab fan. Dab is like, it's too much. It's too much. Woo. Holly says, learn to make your own bread. Indeed, it can be a lot healthier that way too. Shout out to Holly. Hope you're having a good weekend. Oh, I see what you're saying, Amy. Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy because remember the Matthew Perry ketamine cause of death. I assume they're saying like the ketamine made him pass out because he drowned, right? So the real cause of death is drowning. But they said they put out that cause of death blamed on ketamine 48 days after the death, and ketamine equals 48. And then Amy's saying that that was 223 days from the anniversary of Friends ending May 6th, and 223 is the 48th prime number. So interesting. That makes sense too. And then they play the Atlanta Falcons next, and Atlanta Falcons is 86, so they're 8-6 going into the Falcons game. Yes, Jerry Richardson dead at 86. We were talking about his death last spring, and what it had to do with the Super Bowl being in the 86 city Las Vegas. So yeah, that makes some good sense. I felt like I was about to look something up and then I forgot. Was I about to look something up? It slipped out of my mind. Maybe I didn't tell you guys what I was going to look up and I already forgot. Shout out to Frank the Truth Tank. Thank you, Frank. Happy belated birthday, Frank. Wasn't it sad that Frank Wycheck died on your birthday? I was like, what is going on in the world? It's Frank the Truth Tank's birthday and Frank Wycheck is dead? This is crazy. And you guys see how that works, right? Frank Wycheck of the Titans dies, and then what happens the next day in prime time? Well, the news broke on a Sunday. They said he died last Saturday. But the news broke Sunday, and then the next day, Titans are playing in prime time as a 14-point underdog. And what do you know? Another big underdog win after a former player's death. Just like how earlier this year, Dick Butkus of the Bears died right before the Bears got their first win in prime time on Thursday Night Football. Yeah, you had that big Transformer issue a few years back in New York. Of course, there's been some blackouts in East Coast history. Again, the other thing to think about, though, is there's been a lot of predictive programming for the Hoover Dam, right? The Hoover Dam, which is on the Nevada-Arizona border, and it's going to be in close proximity to the Super Bowl. Now, again, just the whole Matthew Perry, Julia Roberts thing. They were in the episode of Friends the day of the Super Bowl in 96, which again featured the Steelers and Cowboys, the teams in the Black Sunday movie about a terrorist attack on the Super Bowl. And Julia Roberts' character in that Friends episode, whatever her name is, if you look it up, the gematria of that character name is 104, like this is the 104th NFL season. So... yeah. Here, let's go back and look at. I got an old post. I know that there's a. Is it a Transformers movie? Transformers, right? Power outage. Let me see. Hoover Dam. I know they put up like a 322 days without an injury. Let me see. You see it. Is this the one where I'm trying to? I know I got the screenshot somewhere. Oh, it's right here. Right before you see the Hoover Dam blow up in Transformers, you see this in the background. This laboratory has worked 322 days without a safety breach. And it's just like how in The Dark Knight Rises, um, they show you press box, or is that the right word for it? Like suite, or is it stadium section? They put up a 3-2-2 on the stadium right before the stadium blows up. So, and we know what 3-2-2 is. You got Order 3-2-2, Skull and Bones. Very special number to Kabbalah, the root word of the Cabal. So, and let's not forget Yale's 322 years old. We were talking about how that TV on the radio winter song did come out on the 322nd day of the year earlier in the stream. This movie came out June 12th. Oh, God, speaking of Skull and Bones, well, doesn't that make sense? It premiered on June 12th. Whose birthday is that? That's George Herbert Walker Bush's birthday. He was still alive back then. Mr. Order 322. And that's the day leaving 202 days left in the year, and Skull and Bones equals 202. In the U.S., it premiered June 12th. It came out July 3rd. Runs 144 minutes. Of course it does. So, yeah, it's just another thing. There was some weird explosion at the Hoover Dam the other year. Let's go back and look at what that was, too. Just things that could cause power outages with these Super Bowl clues. There was an explosion at the Hoover Dam July 19th, 2022. The day before the 201st day of the year. It was a date with 48 numerology explosions, 48. It was called, the Hoover Dam was called the Boulder Dam until 1948. The light, I like that the light had that observation. Well done, the light. Arizona is the 48th state. The Super Bowl between the Steelers and Cowboys in 96, the Day of the Friends episode, that one was played in Arizona. The first ever Super Bowl played in Sun Devil Stadium at Arizona State. My trolls love that too. They're like, Zach was a Sun Devil. The only reason I went there is because I got a scholarship and it smelled like oranges. I mean, how could you not want to go to Arizona State? Woo! I want to go back to those days before 9/11 happened. When I first started there, 9/11 had happened. 2 weeks into school, though, then 9/11 happened. The first 2 weeks were so much better than every week after. The world was never the same again for me. I was just like, what is wrong with everybody? How come everybody's marching along to this? Are you kidding me? You guys really think a man in a cave attacked us? Are you out of your mind? Did you see what's wrong with this crackhead president we have? The son of the last Republican president, King George II? These misled people. Kool and the Gang knew. Anyway. Shout out to Laura, too. Thank you again, Laura. What's release was on 322. Hold on. Did you see my post on the upcoming release of the American Society of Magical Negroes? Is that a real movie? What? The American Society of Magical Negroes. That's a movie coming out? It's 144 minutes long. Come on, man. And it comes out on 322. What? I'm just going to type in Magical Negroes and see what comes up. Magical Negroes. Is that Will Smith? Oh, that's Beggar Vance. Yeah, that is Will Smith, but maybe not the same movie. Oh, so I didn't know this. So, okay, it's based on a trope. The magical Negro is a trope in American cinema, television, and literature. In the cinema of the United States, the magical Negro is a supporting stock character who comes to the aid of white protagonists in a film. I've never heard this phrase before. Magical Negro characters, often possessing special insight or mystical powers, have long been a tradition in American fiction. Really? As a trope, the term magical Negro was popularized in 2001 by film director Spike Lee while discussing. How long is his Malcolm X film? You guys know how long it is? Watch this. Spike Lee, Malcolm X. Back in the day, it was a double VHS. Hold on. They've changed it. This movie came out on the 322nd day of the year, November 18th. Now, I see up here it's saying 3 hours and 20 minutes, but I actually remember this movie being 3 hours and 22 minutes long to go with its release date. Well, here it's saying it's 201 minutes long. That'd be 3 hours and 21 minutes. I'm going to go back and actually look. Actually, I don't have any of these movies anymore. I had it on DVD. We donated. I kind of regret. Sweet Lady just wanted to donate everything when we moved. So I have like almost nothing now. I have like no clothes left, no DVDs. Donated all my CDs. I think that was a mistake. But anyway. Funny that that's at 201 minutes right now. But yeah, that movie did come out on November 18th as well. Shout out to Malcolm X. Again, it just you want to read good quotes, just search Malcolm X quotes and just read them all day. I mean, if you're anything like me, you'll agree with almost all of them. As a trope, the term magical Negro was popularized in 2001 by film director Spike Lee while discussing films with students during a tour of college campuses, in which he said Hollywood continued to employ the premise while expressing dismay. He also said that the films The Green Mile and The Legend of Beggar Vance used the super duper magical Negro. Critics use the word Negro because it is considered archaic in modern English. Okay, so it's credited to Spike Lee. So you said a movie's coming out next year on 3/22. This must be it right here. Hour and 44 minutes. Director Kobe Levy. Where can I get some more information on this film? 3/22, just like Amy said. That'll be the 82nd day of the leap year. He does spell his name Kobe different than the Kobe who died in the Skull and Bones ritual, but Bryant has that Gematria 82 like game, like the NBA's 82 game season. I wonder, 2024, a guy named Kobe making a movie about magical Negroes. Will Smith is kind of very much connected to that term through Spike Lee and what he explained about Beggar Vance. We know that Kobe's death was perfectly synced with Will Smith, the other guy who went from Philly to LA with the basketball connection, things we talked about big time back when Kobe went down by the code at age 41 on the Pope's 41st day of his age, traveling from Catholic Mass when Kobe Bryant's 41 like Skull and Bones. What's the gematria of this title? It's going to premiere January 19th at Sundance. Okay, I'll look into that more, but that is interesting. A little bit interesting. Shout out to Rick James. Thanks again, Rick. Who do you gift those to? It always says you gifted one, but I don't know what it means. Who did you gift it to? Did you gift it to another member? Thank you for doing that, whatever you're doing, but I'm still confused by what that means every time it says that. Yeah, Spike Lee, he's been involved in a lot of rituals over the years. We've definitely documented them. When you become part of the club, when you get on the world stage, you become part of the ritualism. So, oh, is that what it is? So he gives somebody else a member. I see. So he gave you one. Okay, got it. Oh, earlier on, so it wasn't that one. He's paying it forward. All right, thanks again, Rick. Appreciate it. Shout out to John Mendoza, Mr. Dollars. Okay. Oh, YouTube randomly chooses who it goes to. Interesting. I would imagine it must go to somebody who's in the chat at the time, would be my guess. Yep, the Kobe statue on February 8th, a date that can be written 8/2. Indeed. All right. Well, yeah. If you missed the other work we did on this film, Leave the World Behind, definitely go back and check that out. This past Wednesday's TFR episode was pretty much dedicated to it, and yeah, it is a 3-hour stream, but just watch it in pieces. There's a lot of things to know that they encoded in this film, but I just want to look a little bit more at the music and these people on another level. So. Old School Man says Cowboys and Steelers are the only two teams that met 3 times in the Super Bowl, and Cowboys won their 3rd Super Bowl. Super Bowl 10 and 3 years later, and 13 was to determine who would win their 3rd title. Hold on. Let me see something real quick. List of Super Bowl winners. All right. Cowboys' first Super Bowl was a loss to the Colts in 71. Second Super Bowl was a win over the Dolphins. The Dolphins had the perfect season next year. Cowboys lost to the Steelers in 76. 76 is a big theme in this movie. Leave the World Behind. Of course, Barack Obama equals 76, and it pays tribute to Acts 7:6 and the 400 years of slavery. And in the beginning of the movie, they're taking the exit 76 to go to the vacation house, and then they show the 76ers mug when they're waking up. All right. Again, the reason this Cowboys Steelers thing is interesting is because one of the meetings was the day of the Julia Roberts and Matthew Perry Friends episode, and the fact that these teams are also in the movie Black Sunday, where a Palestinian terrorist group attacks the Super Bowl. So Steelers beat the Cowboys in 76. Cowboys lost to the Steelers in 79 as well. I'm just thinking real quick. This year's Super Bowl will be 48 years after the 76 meeting, 45 years after the 79 meeting. Yeah, that is perfect to become 3-0 in Super Bowls over the Cowboys. Cowboys is 30 in the most pure. And then the other one was 96. Cowboys became 5-3 in Super Bowls, beating the Pennsylvania team, the Steelers. Pennsylvania's 53, like Vesica Pisces, which is the shape of the football in sacred geometry. Thus, the 53-man roster in the NFL and the 53 and a third yard wide field. It's going to be 28 years after this Super Bowl this year. That Super Bowl was on the 28th. Matthew Perry died on the 28th of October. 10:28, interesting verse in Matthew in the Bible. Has to do with killing. And you know what else? There were 44 points in that Super Bowl, wasn't there? Just like how the number for kill is 44, and we know Matthew Perry, he died 44 years after his first film credit with his father, and then Jennifer Aniston broke her silence on his death 44 days later. You guys see how the Cowboys, the last time that a Super Bowl was the same teams in back-to-back years, Cowboys beating the Bills, at the start of 93 and then at the start of 94. And the thing about 94 is 94, that Super Bowl was at the end of the 93 season, right? The majority of that season was in 93 and then the playoffs in 94. We noticed this at the beginning of this season. We saw how the Cowboys and Bills were playing each other. They play tomorrow on Saturnalia. And Saturnalia is named after Saturn, and Saturn has a 30-year return. And notice how the Cowboys won that last Super Bowl over the Bills with 30 points. And both those seasons had to do with 93 when Saturn's 93 and Cowboys is 30. See how Cowboys is 30 and Dallas is 13? Like the last Super Bowl was 30-13 in favor of Dallas. And then the Dallas just smoked the Eagles 33-13, right? And if you run it in reverse, Cowboys is 33. Again, for all the people who don't understand the ciphers, they're just the alphabetic order forwards and backwards with numerology. You really start to appreciate it when you pay attention to sports. Eagles fell to 10-2 in the Cowboys game, like 102. Anyway. Okay. Okay. It'd be pretty shocking if the Super Bowl somehow ended up being Steelers and Cowboys this year. God, I'd be like, okay, you better make sure you have your emergency supply. Black Sunday, all this, but it seems rather unlikely the Steelers would make the Super Bowl this year at the rate things are going. Then again, they can script whatever they want. But here, I'll remind you guys about a few other things with. Let's go through the history of movies that foreshadowed destruction at a big football game. And there's interesting things about these films because they all have parallels. So you have the Sum of All Fears. And let me see if I can get the football scene, if that'll come up if I Google that. It'll show me the teams. The game's supposed to be in Baltimore, right? In the Sum of All Fears. And let's not forget the Baltimore Ravens, this whole 96 thing. Baltimore Ravens. What year did the Browns become the Ravens? That was in 96, the same year Tupac was killed in Vegas, where the Super Bowl is this year. But Baltimore Ravens has the Gematria of 96. You see how Baltimore Ravens is 174? They're named after Edgar Allan Poe, and his 174th death anniversary was this year. And Mike Tomlin of the Steelers did get his 174th win against the Ravens one day after the 174th death anniversary of Edgar Allan Poe, which was also the day that the war began in Israel. And just with regards to the whole Israel thing, Jerusalem's 58 and 104, like Super Bowl 58 will conclude the 104th NFL season. But I was trying to find a better screenshot. If you have not seen this movie, feel free to check it out. It's a team with yellow and black, which reminds you of the Steelers playing in Baltimore, right? So that's the city of the Ravens. Here you can see Baltimore in the background. So it's like a Baltimore Steelers game, right? And the point I'm making is you had this mega ritual with the Steelers and Ravens this year, paying tribute to Edgar Allan Poe at the same time the war was beginning. And that was the day leaving. Well, the day that Tomlin got the win was the day leaving 84 days left in the year, and it was the same day that Israel declared war on Hamas. Again, Palestinian, and just like Black Sunday is about the Palestinian terrorist group attacking the Super Bowl. But you also, the Steelers are owned by the Rooney family, which are a Jesuit family, and Patrick Rooney had just died at age 84, or maybe that was days later. Was it days before or days later? I can't remember now, but it was right around the same time. And he's not the first member of that Rooney family to die at age 84. But also Batman, stadium, explosion scene, kicker. I want you to see the kicker. They actually use the real Steelers in this scene, but I got to show you the kicker's name. If you forgot this movie, they actually use the real Steelers players for the scene. And Hines Ward, isn't that nice? He's the only surviving player with his 86. Kind of reminds you of Hiroshima on August 6th. But if you look it up, Hines Ward, look at this. I'll just show you right now. So you don't have to look it up. Let's go back. Hines Ward's no longer in the NFL. He's been retired for many years now. But I want you to see how many touchdowns he had in his career. You'll never guess how many touchdowns he had, number 86. He had 85 receiving touchdowns. Can you see this column? 85. 85 receiving and rushing. 1 touchdown. 86 regular season touchdowns for number 86, Hines Ward. Jesuits, the plural has Gematria 86, playing for that Jesuit Rooney family. But let me see. Do we have a screenshot of the kicker? I want you to see the kicker's name. The kicker's name is Ravenstall. Ravenstall. And again, in this scene, they also give you the 3-2-2. Shoot. I'm sure there's a way to look for it, but if I try kick off. But yeah, the point I'm making is it's the Steelers and Ravens again, right? It's the Steelers and Ravens. Just like in the Sum of All Fears, it's the Steelers and Ravens. And in Black Sunday, it's the Steelers and the Seahawks. Or not Seahawks. Steelers and the Cowboys. And remember, this year's halftime performer's Usher. And Usher was born in Dallas. Yes, I know he grew up in Atlanta, but he was still born in Dallas. Cowboys, night of Black Sunday. And remember, at the same time they announced him for the halftime performer, it was the same time Netflix put out The Fall of the House of Usher, which is based on the Edgar Allan Poe stories. And it's about, if you haven't seen it, that's another thing I'd highly recommend watching if you have Netflix, is The Fall of the House of Usher. It's really well done, first of all, so it's enjoyable to watch. But if you're awake, it's really well done. I mean, it's also just about selling your soul to Satan for fame and how you got to sacrifice the people around you, all the evil that it creates in the world, and how many people have to die for some people to be wealthy. There's a scene in there where it's showing like just bodies raining from the sky because of how many people died from this guy's pharmaceutical drug, which he knew was bad all along, but he knew it would make him a lot of money, like the Purdue family with Oxy. Well, I assure you the kicker's name is Ravenstall. If anybody wants to go back and revisit the film, it's there. But I've been making this point for a lot of years about, I wonder if it'll ever become clear why they used the Ravens and the Steelers in 2 Hollywood films about, it's not just remember, it's not just the stadiums that get attacked. It's like everywhere is getting attacked. So yeah, the football game is a part of it, but it's bigger than the football game. And then this year we were blown away when they did that mega ritual with Mike Tomlin, Edgar Allan Poe, the war, and now the whole Black Sunday thing. And remember, they show you in the film Leave the World Behind. They show the plane dropping all the propaganda pamphlets, and I'm not sure. It's probably Arabic that it's written in, either that or Farsi. And remember, also on that pamphlet in Leave the World Behind, it is a snake. And the year of the snake is 2025. And from They Live to Lockdown 2025 to the SPAR simulation to Deagle's website, 2025 has been pointed to in a lot of ways. So, and again, hopefully nothing happens in 2025. But I'd like to say, man, I hope we have at least until 2025 before things get crazy. Not that 2025 is that far away. It's pretty damn close. BK's loved one says, Friends Super Bowl episode also featured Jean-Claude Van Damme. New York Post put out an article the 3 days before Perry's death referencing it. So random. Huh. Yeah, I never really watched Friends, so... But I know who Jean-Claude Van Damme is. Mr. Bloodsport. The kickboxer. I wonder how he works into that episode, too. Yeah, we've been talking about the Ivanka Trump 2028 Simpsons for a long time, too. That's the year she turns 47. Uh, the when does the blackout event happen? I mean, it's hard to say, but again, my point is no one knows the date or hour, and we have been able to use the knowledge to accurately forecast when power outages have happened in the past. But right now, I don't have the answer. Remember when it went down on Valentine's Day? It was 322 days after Klaus Schwab's birthday. God, what if they did it to us on a Valentine's Day again? What if the Public Enemy cover comes up again? Don't forget they put Arizona on that cover. Arizona's the Valentine state. The Super Bowl was in Arizona. The day that the Friends episode came out with Julia Roberts and Matthew Perry. So doesn't have to be Valentine's Day this year, but maybe that's the day it could be in the future too. Valentine's Day, very Catholic. A Ravens 49ers rematch for the Super Bowl is not out of the question. It's definitely possible. It's one of the scenarios we've been pointing to all year that could play out. And it could all be. I'll remind you what they did this year. Again, the Ravens, who won Super Bowl 47. Remember we just talked about that they did at Monday Night Football? Oh my God, they had the ultimate ritual, paying tribute to the blackout Super Bowl in Monday Night Football this week. But or no, I take it back. It was Thursday Night Football. They did it on Thursday Night Football in the 35 Thursday special. But remember, Super Bowl 47 was the Harbaugh Bowl. John Harbaugh beat Jim Harbaugh, and John equals 47. Jim equals 32. So John 47 beats his brother in Super Bowl 47. But that was the year that you had the 34-minute blackout. The word black equals 34. Nevada equals 34, where the Super Bowl is this year. And this year's Super Bowl was actually supposed to be in New Orleans again, just like Super Bowl 47. But then they moved it because of the new stadium. So the Super Bowl this year was supposed to be in the same city where the blackout happened. Okay, something to think about. And don't forget, this year's Super Bowl is on the Vatican's birthday either. But Super Bowl 47, Blackout Bowl, we saw weeks before it happened, we said, look, if the Chargers end up 4-7 versus the Ravens, that could be a tribute to Super Bowl 47. And here, let's go back and scroll back to here, let me close a few slides before I overheat my computer. But let's go back and see when the Chargers did become 4-7 versus the Ravens. I forget how many weeks ago that was now. It was right here, November 26th. The Ravens became 9-3 in that game. But yeah, Chargers fall to 4-7, right? The electricity team. And what was interesting about this week's game, number 95, I'm getting amnesia. Hold on. Hold on. My amnesia is killing me right now. The Raiders. Of course, it was the Raiders. The Raiders, who are hosting the Super Bowl, destroyed the Chargers. And remember, they were up 42-0 at halftime. They won the game by 42 points. The Super Bowl will be the first ever Super Bowl on the 42nd day of the year. 42 is connected to Black history. The Raiders wear black, of course. They're the silver and black. But what was crazy in this game is the touchdown that led to the 56 points. Again, power outages 56. It was a defensive touchdown by number 95. Again, the Super Bowl's on the Vatican's 95th birthday, but the man who scored that touchdown, he was drafted in 2013, which was the year of the blackout Super Bowl. He was drafted by the Saints, who hosted that Super Bowl. And I feel like there was one more thing to it that I'm forgetting right now about that man. Let's see. Whoops, hit the wrong guy. John Jenkins. So this is who did it, number 95. I was thinking there was one other thing about it, but Maybe those are the key points. But yeah, we said, isn't that weird? A defensive touchdown, Super Bowl, the 56 points with all the power outage stuff. So yeah, okay. Yeah, just predictive programming, scripts, clues. So yeah, that was something that we were definitely blown away by in real time on Monday Night Football. People always write things like that. Or was I hit the wrong thing? People always write things like this. If you're exposing them, how didn't they take you down yet? I don't actually understand what that means. How didn't they take me down yet? Well, I mean, haven't I been taken down like a gazillion times? Aren't I like totally shadow banned after 20 some deletions, being deleted off multiple platforms? Uh, Again, I feel like they've done a lot of things to make me stop, including having a car crash through my house on 2 walls on Christmas Eve. Part of a long laundry list of things that we've persevered through. But yeah, I guess the reason they haven't taken me down is because I just haven't quit. So you just got to be persistent. Oh, you didn't know they've taken me down before? Why do you think my channel number? Why do you think this is called GematriaEffectNews 25? And not to mention, there were several channels before we even started numbering them. Uh, Here, somebody said an actor is dead at 93. Let me check that out real quick since it's Saturnalia. It's 93 time. Jack Axelrod of General Hospital, dead at 93. And again, nobody would ever question the death of a 93-year-old, but it's the big Saturn number. The news breaks on a Saturday, right before Saturnalia gets underway. He's been acting since 30. Saturn's 30-year return. Or no, never mind. He was born in 30, but still 30-year return to Saturn, so making him extra right. I don't see a birthday for him, so actors who don't have birthdays, it's hard to do a proper decode, but the 93 thing right before Saturnalia definitely jumping out. Yeah, that's true. That power outage does have that connection as well. One of the funnier things that I've seen in the last week is somebody it's this same character whose name's up on the screen, but he did a video saying that it was a waste of time to watch the Obama movie, and then he said that he hasn't seen it. He said he doesn't need to watch it, and he said all he has to do is look at the title. And he ended up doing a 2-hour live stream on the title of the film. But what was hilarious is he thought the title of the film for the new Obama film, Leave the World Behind, he was under the impression that the film was titled Left Behind. So he has a 2-hour video. Like if you've ever watched a Yeah Right video, he really only has like a few things and he just keeps saying it over and over, and it can take up 2 hours, even though it's only like 20 seconds of thoughts. But he's like, all I need is the title Left Behind. I mean, he was a liberal. It's more liberalism. It's more that lefty liberal stuff. It's just like, and then he goes on for 2 hours. And then he's talking about like, Zach's just wasting people's time. Nobody needs to watch that movie. I haven't seen it. Left Behind's all that matters. It's like, God, like how dumb can you be? I mean, like, don't you realize how dumb you sound? Like, just preach. I actually caught the end of it, and I just wrote in the chat, "Ignorance is strength," and I think he thought it was a compliment. He's like, "Yeah." It's like, no, moron. That's a quote from 1984. That's what you are. You think ignorance is strength? It's pathetic. But my God, man, to go on for 2 hours about. Hold on. Hello? Oh, it's the trolls. They figured out how to call me from. I just want to make sure nothing was going on. I was like, why do I keep getting phone calls over and over from somebody in the same area? But it's the trolls. Uh, Clever though to pick a phone number from my same area code. They're getting smarter, these trolls. But yeah, it is sad how dumb some people are, including all of my critics. I forget who created this slogan that liberalism is a mental disorder. In reality, though, like the word liberal's been hijacked. I really think that anyone who wants to, because again, what does liberal really mean historically? It means willing to change. So personally, I identify with the word liberal through that because the way I look at society, it's like what are conservative values? What is that? Conservative values? What, being religious, believing what the authorities told you, being a good patriot to your nation that's totally based in fraud and lies. So I do feel that in terms of the true meaning of the word, a liberal is a better thing to be. The love. Are you on your way home? Oh, okay. I'll meet you over there then. All right. Love you. Huh? Okay. I'll see you. Bye. He says, is there any accounts, Instagram, YouTube, other than this one that I can also watch and learn more? Well, I post stuff on my Twitter all the time. So Twitter, my Twitter handle is @FreeToFindTruth. So, and I've started streaming on Twitter too, if you didn't want to watch it on YouTube. But I post a lot of interesting things on here. Don't I always tell you guys Atlanta in 15's like free money? Hit again last night. Atlanta, little underdog on the road. Raptors get their 15th loss versus Atlanta. Ooh, I love Atlanta in 15. Man, it just plays so much. Smashes in NFL, NBA, MLB, just smashes all over the place. Oh, by the way, how about this one? Macy's Great Tree Lighting retired after 74 years. No more lights after 74 years. If you're new here, 74, that's a number to know. Big occult number. Big Jesus number too, in light of Jesus' birthday being celebrated on the pagan high holy day. So, I do have an Instagram, but I cannot even tell you what my Instagram channel is because I hardly ever use it. It's on my phone. Sometimes I feel like opening it on my phone. It might be spelled out GematriaEffect.dot as a word. I actually spelled out dot news. That might be my Instagram. Can you look that up? GematriaEffect.news Instagram. Let me see if it comes up. How come when you type that in? Yeah, that is it. @GematriaEffect.news. So I have that. My Facebook is Zachary K. Hubbard. I do have my own social media website. If you didn't know, you will not get banned on here. You can post whatever you want. You just can't be a troll. But yeah, freetofindtruth.com. Social media for truth seekers. You can download the app on your phone. Mighty Networks app. Sign up for the Free to Find Truth group. There's a lot of people on here sharing stuff all the time. So let me see. But yeah, a good place to share information with other people looking for answers. So I'm on there as well, of course. Shout out to Carl Streener. Thank you again, Carl. And Carl, I did get a notification. It's Carl. Anytime anybody orders anything from my website, it's always you. You're the only one who orders anything in the whole world. So thank you for being that person. But I did see your order, and sure enough, it said Carl Streener. I said, there he is again, getting the word out on the other side of the ocean. I appreciate it. Well, I appreciate your enthusiasm. Chill on this account. We used to be reaching a lot more people back in the day when we could actually get views. That's the other thing that annoys me. That's the other thing that annoys me. It's like, you guys, you got to pay attention. Like, people, if I say this, they're like, oh, but I like both of you. Okay, but pull your head out of your ass and listen to what I'm saying. Controlled opposition is a real thing. There's a group of YouTube channels that emerged in late 2018, 2019 that work together. They weren't here before that. And they emerged in a time when a lot of people on YouTube had quit. So there was like a void of truth speaking channels, if you will, because everyone was so sick of getting censored. I was one of the only people who remained on YouTube despite all the deletions. Almost everybody else gave up. But then came in, because again, the deletions started really, really bad for truth channels in the summer of 2017. Like I was one of the first out of here on June 28th, 2017. But there's a group of people who've come in. And what I noticed about the new group that came in 2018, 2019, they use my work, but they give me no credit. And then they all circle jerk each other and recommend each other's channels. But then they never really lead people to the right place. And then they use silly ciphers and they keep everything silly. And like, so one of these people's name is Donut. What's a donut? A zero. What's a zero? Nothing. And that's what his channel does. It leads you to nowhere. But like he's referencing these, like another guy that came out of nowhere, Above Waters Crypto or whatever it's called. He took my knowledge and what I exposed about he launched a for Patreon Gematria crypto page right after I landed the Bitcoin prediction dead on the money for why it was going to be worth 45,000, which was a record high at the time on Valentine's Day. And he took the knowledge and he set up a Patreon and just focused on crypto and started charging $300 a month for his crypto advice. And he's never given credit. And when he does bring up my name, he talks trash. But Donut, crypto, and then like Call Me Kinfolk, I realize he's part of it too, because he's always telling people to go to their channels for Jamatri, even though he learns everything from me. The only thing I can say that's good about Call Me Kinfolk is he calls out the Jesuits. The other two guys won't. And the other two guys are Jewish. What do you know? And it's just annoying to watch these like frauds and people who take my work and don't do a very good job with it. They can still get views. They still get videos that get 100,000 views. Meanwhile, it's like I can't even get to 5,000 views anymore. Used to be able to get 1 million views. Now I can't even get 5,000. So yeah, this is a network of shills and operatives. And that's why they all reference each other and don't give credit to the source. And that's the name of the game. So I'd also advise people not to support those channels. Like, what's sad is like Mr. Scott. He used to always be here, always giving super chats. Now he's always over in Call Me Kinfolk's channel, giving all his super chats. And it's like, damn, man, you're giving your super chats now to a guy who does whack-ass decodes that gives no credit to the source? That's sad as hell. So anyway, it is frustrating just watching it. And it's just like, this is why you can't help humanity. Is people are too dumb, too low functioning, too easily misled, too easily taken in by the frauds. And what are you going to do? So... yeah, they're all frauds. And anyone who's like, oh, I'm not sure about that, trust me, you just don't have enough intelligence to see through it. It's very obvious. There's no reason for Call Me Kinfolk to be referencing the two shills who've monetized my work and made a lot of money off it and never given credit to it, and also don't do it justice. They don't do it justice at all. So... yeah, humanity is way too easily misled. Thus, I'm pretty sure that's why they chose misled as one of the tracks. Well, just watch when we go out and speak in public. I mean, when we go out and speak in public, we get a lot of people who really appreciate what we do. But unfortunately, in the time that I've gone out and started speaking out in public and traveled all over the place, support's gone way down, and it's not cheap to travel. So... anyhow, sweet lady just called, and again, this summer my dad retired when he reached 70. He finally retired, and he lives out here in this area now, and not too far away. and usually on the either Saturday or Sunday night, we go over and have dinner with them. So we're gonna go meet at my dad's and have a nice little family dinner together. It's nice to. I've been telling the rest of my family they should move out this way too. We live in the better part of the state now. We live on the other side of the mountains. If there ever is fallout, I definitely live in the better part of the state. You know, I grew up on the west side of the state where the cities are, Portland and Seattle, but now we live east of the mountains. And I'd encourage all people, like, if you can get out of the cities, move to a more rural place. I think that's also a smarter plan for what's being predicted for future events in the world. And there's other nice things about living outside of the city too. It's just way less noisy, less pollution, less traffic. But I mean, where we live, there's never any traffic. I shouldn't say never. One time there was a car accident that backed up the highway, but I mean, it's really rare. It's really rare. So if you're in a big city, maybe try to make a plan to get out. Then again, it can be hard because a lot of times that's where the employment is. But that was something I started to think about back when Obama was president. What year was that? I forget what year it was, but it was probably around 2010. It was even before Janet Napolitano said the next 9/11 is not if, but when, and it's the power grid going down. Obama updated something that had been on the books for many years, but there was a change in the language. I forget exactly what it was, like some kind of Defense Authorization Act. But what was really noteworthy is the terminology that they changed. They made it so that the United States was now considered an active battleground on the war on terrorism. And I'll have to go back and look into that. And I didn't know Jamatri back when he did that, but it creeped me out because I was like, okay, wait a minute. So if the U.S. is now considered an active battleground on the war on terrorism, I know that, like, at the beginning of the 2000s after 9/11, they made it so that if you're deemed a terrorist, then you lose your rights as a citizen. So I feel like deeming the United States an active battleground on the war on terrorism, I feel like it's a step closer to us all being deemed, potential terrorists and losing our rights and liberties. And you have to remember, that's what they've been slowly building in the 21st century, in this post 9/11 Patriot Act era. They've changed all these laws. And so far, for the most part, we haven't really seen, as far as we know, it impact a lot of our lives. But could it be a decade from now where, I have the feds busting through the door and I've been deemed a terrorist and they can haul me off to some cell and cage and not have to notify? Because that's part of the thing too. If you look into all the things they've done, like if you are deemed a terrorist, you lose your rights and liberties. The government doesn't have to notify anybody that you've been taken. Look into this stuff. It's not fantasy. These really are the laws of the land right now. It doesn't seem like it's been used yet. But the fact that they made all these changes, and we know these people work at a very patient pace. Do they have it planned, at some point that they really start doing these things to people? Because that's the nation we're living in now. So anyway, we'll leave it there, Truth Seeker. Thanks to everyone who hit the like and the share. Thank you to the super chatters. Have a good evening. And until next time.